As you work with formulas in Excel worksheets, there are times when you know a formula is incorrect, and yet you can't quite figure out what the problem is. I'm going to zoom in on the formula in cell D13 using the Control key and the mouse wheel, and then double-clicking the cell. Let's imagine that you know this formula is giving you an incorrect answer, and you've been working with it for a few years, and you recognize that if a certain portion of it is equal to a certain amount, that's going to be helpful in figuring out where the problem here is. So when you double-click a cell, or if you click in the formula bar, you can highlight a portion of a formula. Maybe it's this portion right here that you think is the problem. When you highlight this, you can then press the F9 key to see what that current result is. Now, what you're highlighting must be a coherent piece of a formula. F9 tells us that the average there was 162.5. Now, maybe immediately a light bulb goes off in your head and you say, oh yeah, that's it. That's the problem. Let's escape and go out and make some adjustments to the data that's being referred to there. Or maybe at another time you're saying, maybe it's this part of the formula. And so you can do this in pieces if you wish. Now, I'm going to highlight this chunk right here and then press F9. And we see what that's equal to. Maybe that's not very helpful just yet. So we'll then take that amount, divide it by the 12,000, we'll highlight this portion of it. Now when you do this, you want to make sure that you're highlighting what would constitute by itself a valid formula. So in this case here, if I'm not picking up that left parentheses, if I press F9, I get a strange message here that's totally misleading. You just want to click OK and get out of here and probably press Escape. Maybe start over again. Double-clicking again, maybe highlighting this entire portion this time, including that left parenthesis, press F9. Maybe that's helpful, maybe not. Maybe it's the average along with the information to the right that's a problem. Maybe it's the B1. And so if you have a sense of what the formula is supposed to do, and maybe it isn't working, by highlighting pieces of it and pressing F9, you do see what that piece of it is currently equal to. Now, it is important when you're doing this too, nearly all the time, do not press enter, because what you will have done is, of course, altered your formula and turned those locations into pure results. So many times you'll just press escape to get out of here. And so that can be a really valuable tool when you're trying to debug a formula. Another example here, and you might not have yet seen this kind of a formula, but a formula involves logical tests. In cell R1, here's a formula, and as I double-click, it's quite lengthy, and we're not really going to get into the logic of it too much, but if you've worked with ands and ifs and ors and so on, when you highlight a portion of a formula, you might want to know whether it's true or false. So highlighting this portion of this formula while editing, once again pressing F9, tells us that that is false. And if you're familiar with how and works, you could say, well, no matter what this is, it's going to be false. That might be true or it might be false, but let's see what it is. Let's press F9. That's true. An and with a true and a false is going to be false. Possibly you'll highlight this just to verify that idea. As you do this, though, it's easy to lose track of what had been there. So it certainly isn't foolproof, and it doesn't get you everything you need when debugging, but the ability to edit a formula, highlight a portion of it, and press F9 to see what that piece of the formula is equal to can be extremely valuable in working with formulas in worksheets.